Hi, this is Sunday afternoon at about 12:30. So now the clocks have changed, it's half an hour after noon. And I'm going to walk from the south end of Port Meadow to Lake Street, which I videoed on Thursday. That's if my battery will hold out. And this is a sort of newcomer's walk. I'm not going to say too much about the history of buildings that I pass and so on. I want to show how in Oxford you can easily do a walk that takes you from a place north of the city centre that you may not know to a place south of the city centre that you may not know, and doesn't pass too far from the city centre when you're in the middle of the walk, but nevertheless gets you away from main roads and so on. And because it's been raining a lot, this route should also keep your feet dry. As you can see, Port Meadow is flooded. In fact, it's part of the floodplain, and it's often like this at this time of year. Maybe not as bad. I think we've had more rain than we used to.
What's the advantage to me of doing something?
So Port Meadow is an expanse of scrub and water meadow that goes up to a village that you can see at the north end, Wolvercote. And there are people walking along the side of the flooded part, but you can't walk all the way up to Wolvercote through the meadow now. You have to take a path through the nature reserve on that side, Burgess Field, or cross a bridge over the Thames there, and then if you're lucky you can get up the other side of the river without finding any impassable spots. So the entrance to Port Meadow is down there, and you can look all this up on maps. I'll probably tag this Oxford student info or something of the sort, because it would be useful for newcomers. So what I'm now on is the end of Waltonwell Road, which you will find on Google Maps, or at least I hope you will. And this is William Lucy Way down there. And the canal is down that path where the people are going. If you go down that path, there's actually a little connection, a flight of steps that goes down to the canal there. But I'll go down here. And the canal will end and then come out on a road that runs west from George Street. And one nice thing is that the towpath has been resurfaced, so that it isn't a dirt track anymore. And I'm running roughly parallel to the Thames, which was on the far side of Port Meadow that I pointed to. These buildings are flats, and I believe they're very expensive flats. And the design is meant to hark back to that of a Victorian iron foundry that used to be here called Luce's. The Oxford bit of their business has now become property management.
Your family because they don't. And everything. In actual fact, I wasn't really on the same page with
And you see quite a few narrow boats along the canal, which is nice. There is a fairly large stretch of residential mooring, which we'll pass. That's the Castle Mill stream, which is a backwater of the Thames. It branches off from the Thames by Port Meadow, goes round the south end, down the canal, and then rejoins the Thames by not too far from a railway bridge. And on the other side of the Castle Mill stream, there's an infamous block of flats called Castle Mill Flats, built by the university as, I think it's, graduate accommodation. And they've won a lot of criticism for the bleakness of their architecture. Oh, I should have said that canal bridge crosses into a district called Jericho, most of which was built as workers' accommodation in the 19th century. And if you go leftwards through Jericho, you come to Walton Street, which, together with some roads that continue off it, is the main sort of artery through Jericho. You often see boaters. Ooh, I don't know what's going on here. Something smells rank. Somebody somewhere is burning something. A lot of something. Oh, it's that boat. Phew. That absolutely stinks. And a pie. So now I'm going to go down to the end of the canal. That bridge leads to the Thames via a stream called Sheepwash Channel. And the reason I'm not going down it today is that there's a path alongside the Thames that goes to Botley Road, but it may be blocked off because of construction works. But this is very pleasant. So the Thames connects as on that sign. The sun is lovely and warm now. And the path is like this all the way to the end of the canal. And we then come on to Hythe Bridge Street, which comes west off the end of George Street. So that's very close to the city centre. and pretty close to Nuffield College. And these are a lot of the residential moorings. And I just caught a glimpse of a swan with its cygnets, which look almost full grown. You see there's a lot around here. I always have the impression, looking at these boats, that they require virtually full-time maintenance to fend off the forces of entropy. That is Upper Fisher Row. I don't know what the people in the houses do now. They're probably not fisher folk, but the name comes from the fact that there used to be a lot of fisher people living around there. And here the canal ends. The Castle Mill stream on the other side continues under the bridge that I'm coming to. So that's one easy bit of the walk, which has taken me from the south end of Port Meadow to this city centre street. And the railway station is down there. That's probably where all these people are coming from. and Gloucester Green and the bus station are up just round the corner.
Those are the main ones. Yeah.
So this, as I say, is Upper Fisher Row.
And she was like, oh, this is a bit nice.
This is a pub called the Oxford Retreat on Hythe Bridge Street. It was famous for most of its life as the Nag's Head, and the name comes from the importance of horses in working on the canal. This is just Fisher Row rather than Upper Fisher Row. So I'm just going in a straight line from where I was on the other side of the bridge. The big problem with Oxford is that it's made very difficult for pedestrians to use. There's a natural continuation between Fisher Row and the bit of it down there, for example, but there's no easy way to cross safely from one side to the other. As you can see now, you have to just wait for a break in the traffic and hope. Road safety is not a prime consideration. Okay, so I've now crossed Park End Street, and that is Nuffield College with the green spire. That's the green spire I meant. I realised that the other one's not green. That's part of Nuffield. Hi. Okay to come through?
You can come through, sir.
Thanks. I'm just, as it were, showing some newcomers the way. Cheers.
It's always good to show them the way.
Right, so I'm continuing in my straight line, having crossed both Hythe Bridge Street and Park End Street. on the right, about halfway along this street, there used to be a brewery run by a company called Morrells or Morels. Now it's closed and being converted into flats. On the left there, the building to our side of it was the brewery pub. So I think at one time it actually had a sort of hole in the wall to the brewery, and you could buy beer direct from the brewery dispensary. Very fierce because of all the rain. And up there is a pub in a 17th century building, the one on the corner on the right, the Jolly Farmers. I'm going to follow this stream, so I'm still going in my straight line. And the stream I'm following is that branch of the Thames that I mentioned when I was on the canal, the Castle Mill stream that gave its name to the university's horrible flats. And it's called the Castle Mill Stream because there was a mill here and there was a castle here. You can't see much of the castle from where I am. That's St George's Tower, which I think is now generally regarded as having been built before the castle. The castle was built by a nobleman called Robert D'Oyly, who came over with William the Conqueror and was given control of Oxford. Woodin's Way, named after a Green Party councillor. So apart from crossing the road, the only thing I've had to be careful of when walking this way is the leaves. And because of the texture of the path underfoot, they're actually not too slippery. So I'm now a little bit south of the city centre, and I'm passing the new Westgate Shopping Centre, which was completed in 2017. Replacing a previous one that had been here since the 70s. That's the Castle Mill stream. Now I'm coming up to Oxpens Road, so named because until the 80s there was a cattle market just right of where I am. That's an ice skating rink. Right, so I had to cut. There was a group of people in the way. I'm now on the other side of the road from where I was. This is Oxpens Road Bridge, and I'm going to continue along the Castle Mill stream. Yeah. So I'm still going in my straight line.
Hold up a minute. I'm not having someone walking behind me recording me. Great.
And now I'm about to come to the end of the Castle Mill stream because it'll rejoin the Thames in a minute. For reference, this is a housing estate, and the road there is Trinity Street, and that's shown on all the maps. The sun's come out. There is an awful lot of green space round here. You just need to get to the other side of the main branch of the Thames. So this is where the Castle Mill stream rejoins the Thames.
Przed, w trakcie. Potem jeszcze Chrisu wziął pół.
And now I want to go up and round so that I can get to the other side of the Thames proper. Right, now I'm crossing the Thames on this rather splendid bridge. If you walk along there, you come to the Oseney Mead Industrial Estate, which has at least one university-related building, a sort of Bodleian department extension, and a department of, I think it's thermodynamics in engineering. And then if you carry along the path rather than branching into the industrial place, you get to a lock and then a pub called the Punter, which you can sit outside. That branch of the Thames goes to Folly Bridge, and the building there is Pembroke College accommodation.
I don't care. If films any of my kids, you get thrown in the river. Paedophiles come in all shapes and sizes.
The ground here is a little bit soggy, but not too bad. So that's a little bit worse. I think it's okay. And the reference point to use when looking on maps around this area is the railway, which is over there. And now I am in South Oxford. This is a pavilion attached to a sports and playing ground at the end of White House Road. Look that up on the maps. Okay, well, so far then, I started at the south end of Port Meadow. I walked along the canal to the end of the canal at Hythe Bridge Street. I then followed the Castle Mill stream along Fisher Row and south of it, passing near the Morals Brewery. I didn't tell you the street name there, but that was St Thomas Street. And then I continued along the Castle Mill stream, behind or to one side of the Westgate Shopping Centre, and then across Oxpens Road, and then to where the Castle Mill stream rejoins the Thames, and then to that splendid bridge that I crossed. And then I diverted over the meadows, and I'm here near White House Road. So when you look at a map, I'm now facing roughly north. The path that I was on follows in that direction, bounded by the railway. Okay, so that's numbers 2 to 8 White House Road for reference. Oops. Now I'm approaching the entrance to this bit of green space is called Grand Pont Community Spaces. There. Now I'm coming up to Marlborough Road, and as I explained in my Lake Street video, this used to be the railway. The first station in Oxford was up on the left at the junction of Marlborough Road and Western Road. It was a Great Western railway station, which is why Western Road got its name. It was the approach road to the station. And the railway was eventually closed because it was more convenient to put the station somewhere else. and housing was built here, being conveniently above flood level because of the railway embankment. And it looks as though this has taken just under an hour. I'd have thought I'd be quicker than that.